Good afternoon and welcome to Integrating Project Online with Office 365 Planner. I say good afternoon because that's where I am, but good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. I am Jenny Ward, and we're going to go through many different scenarios today that hopefully you will find helpful in determining what is the best scenario for your environment and for the needs of your project management organization. Today, we're specifically going to focus on integrating Project Online with Office 365 Planner and provide some real-world examples of how both might benefit your organization. The agenda we have today will be going through task management. Then we'll do an overview of project, planner, and team productivity. We'll be linking plans to tasks in Project Online. That is to say, one task will be linked to an entire plan in Microsoft Planner. And then, well, most significantly probably, I think this is going to be what you find most helpful, will be when to use Planner versus when to use Project Online. And then finally, we'll go through Q&A and next steps. You'll be able to email questions to info@ppmworks.com. and we'll get back in touch with you. That would include any kind of questions on the Project Online Office 365 environment. We specialize in many different things, and we always love hearing from our webinar attendees. I am Jenny Ward, Jennifer Ward, as my mother calls me, and I am horrified to say that I've been in IT now for 20 years. I have a focus in service delivery. I managed a team of service delivery managers. And so I'm really used to dealing with different clients' issues and concerns and problems and being able to turn those problems into solutions. I really enjoy solving puzzles, working with people, and teaching them how to be able to solve those puzzles on their own. So hopefully you'll get some knowledge today that will help you take that back to your own work environment and your teams. And hopefully you enjoy. PPM Works has been in the industry for quite a long time. Our philosophy is we believe in honesty, integrity, and dedication. I feel really honored to work at PPM Works. My history is that I first got to know my colleagues and bosses because I went to them for consulting work myself. I was a project server administrator, and we had configured an environment, and we needed some experts to come in and ensure that we had done everything correctly. And so doing that introduced me to the team and taught me many things, and still every day I'm learning something new. So we really focus on our quality of services, ensuring that you are having a trusted experience. We listen first. We seek first to understand you before we prioritize being understood ourselves. It's important for us to hear what you need. We go by the Microsoft proven methodology. We use our own templates as well as Microsoft templates, and we have competitive pricing. Our services and solutions include Project Online Quick Starts, industry solutions, PMO on demand. We do data warehousing, various reporting, Office 365 applications, myriad services, everything from project configuration to mentoring and support. As I mentioned, that's how I got to know the PPM Works team. We do hands-on workshops. We do webinars like this all the time. We look forward to you joining ones in the future. One of my favorite things to do is Power BI and dashboards. Through your work with Project Online, all of that information that you're inputting into your Project Online environment is reportable through another Microsoft tool called Power BI. It's the latest and greatest, and it is one of my favorite things. So I highly encourage you to check that out if you haven't already. And of course, we do training courses. So if your organization just maybe needs to brush up on some skills or is new to the Project Online environment, we can help you with that as well. Our learning objectives for the course today will be, first of all, that you will be able to understand task management and work management. That is the differences between the two. We'll talk about project and planner use cases. As I mentioned, we'll kind of go through 4 different scenarios in which you'd use Planner, Project Online, the link between the two, and finally the full integration between the two. We'll get started using the two of them, assigning tasks, task progress, and communicating with the team. And then, as I mentioned, we'll determine when we should use each of those and or the integration between the two. The goals today will be to understand Microsoft work management solutions like Project Online and Planner use cases, when we should integrate. We're going to give you a quick reference here. You'll be able to reference this PowerPoint slide presentation after the fact. And as I mentioned, you'll also be able to email info@ppmworks.com for any questions. We're going to go through at a fairly fast pace, but I'm feeling nice and relaxed today, so I think we'll be able to take our time, and you won't feel too overwhelmed with the information that we're going through here. So first of all, I want you to ask yourselves a quick question. What tools does your organization currently use today to facilitate the collaboration, and to manage the effort among the team? Some groups use Project if they're more experienced project management teams. Others use Excel. Sometimes task lists in SharePoint and Office 365 might be used. Shared drives to collaborate on document and content management. You could use To-Do. Perhaps you're communicating via conversations in Yammer. Lots of different options in the Office 365 environment. A big question for this particular webinar is, are you on the Office 365 environment? Because that is what Planner comes with for free. So in terms of managing a team or managing the resources that are working on that team, you have to ask yourself who's working on what and how do you maintain visibility into that? When are things due? Do you have a good sense of what's coming up in the pipeline for this week, for next week? Do you have enough resources to cover those needs? Can those things be completed on time? And if people are working on the right things at the right time, should they maybe be prioritizing things differently? Well, how do you really get a sense of that if you don't have a good understanding of who's working on what and when? So there's 4 different kinds of work. There's the me work. There's the list that I do for myself every morning when I come in, because I'm a total list maker. And I just kind of try to keep myself organized. Sometimes I do that list just on a simple piece of paper, and I write down, okay, these are the 5 things I want to make sure that I get done today. There's the we work, where I'm working with my peers and I'm coordinating. Okay, I need to work with this on Cindy today. I need to connect with Laura so she can help me learn this particular tool. Then there's department resources that are more structured resources for larger groups of people. So that would be maybe my boss looking at the team as a whole and deciding what priorities different managers on the team have and what they're going to be covering. And then there's company connection, finding and consuming content that connects to the whole company as an organization. So a webinar is a good example for this. This is PPM Works reaching out farther than just our own current client base. It's working to broaden those horizons. The solutions offered through Microsoft are pretty great, in my opinion. You know, you can work with individuals for task management. You can have ad hoc teams where you're controlling work management across a group. You can have more formal teams where you're working actually in project management. You know, that would be more of a Project Online use. And then finally, there's the enterprise teams where you've got an environment like Project Online and you're looking at Project Center and you're managing the portfolio across teams and across projects. What Microsoft ensures is that, particularly with the Project Online environment and the Office 365 environment, you get the best experience across all devices. Planner, for instance, has an app now for Android, iPhone, Windows Phone, and that would allow users to just always have the information they need right at their fingertips. The ad hoc teams for work management, as I mentioned, that would be if you're working in SharePoint and Planner. You know, you can do SharePoint lists, SharePoint workflows, and content sharing. In Planner, you can create teams, build plans, have buckets full of tasks and plans that you can assign users and people to. And if you're working on formal teams in project management itself, then you can use Project Online to plan, manage, and execute projects. It's a scalable solution for resource cost schedule management. It comes with templates. There are wizards that help you configure things. And of course, there's real-time reporting. That would also include the connection with Power BI that I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation. So these would also come with team sites, notifications, and team members will receive better results and have consistent notifications across the team. It's designed more for an advanced and formal project management approach, as opposed to Planner, which is more about simplicity and ease of and ramp up of use. This might be one of the more helpful slides that you find in the presentation, because it really clearly spells out, okay, this is the use case that I have, or this is the scenario that I have. What might be the best option for me? So the first three we show are a need to track tasks easily, but perhaps you're unfamiliar with a project management tool, or project management is not in your area of expertise. That's fine. Planner works as a to-do list would, so that might be the best environment for you. Or you want to quickly enable the team to use OneNote, Outlook, SharePoint, Teams, Microsoft Teams. That would also fit the bill for Planner. And then sometimes there are people who are just a bit resistant to learning a new tool, or don't have the time to learn a new tool right now. And that's fine too, because Planner is just made so that anybody on their first day of using it can very quickly and easily understand what to do, how to do it, and where to go. Now, if you're looking for a more detailed work breakdown structure with task dependencies and task tracking, baselines, or if you use timesheets, or you're looking to track progress on all your projects across the portfolio level, maybe you've got executives that are looking to see what's going on with all the projects across an organization. Maybe you have the need for custom views or groups, or you need to filter by a certain kind of task. You know, if you want to go and see all of the late tasks across projects, you can do that with Project Online. Much more elaborate and project management focused than Planner would be. It also allows you to easily track risks, issues, and deliverables through the use of project sites that come with each project. Now, if you want something kind of in between, perhaps you want a simplified visual that will display who's doing what. You have your own project management schedule that you want to be able to manage, but you just want to give your team the environment to work in Planner, let them do what they want to do. Then you could do the simple built-in link to Planner that's now available in Office 365. In your Project Online and Project Professional environment, you'll see there's a link to Planner button, which we'll go through later. And that just allows you to have access to the plan that's associated with the task that you select on the project itself. And then finally, the much higher level integration, the full integration between Planner and Project Online, is an add-in that we at PPM Works leverage. And that would be a scenario if you want to manage the project schedule in Microsoft Project and allow the flexibility for the team members to track and progress their tasks where they prefer. So that gives them the option to work in Planner, have a much more simple tool where you as the project manager can really just manage the project in a much more granular level. So the use case scenarios we'll go through as listed there would be Planner first. We'll take a look at what Planner looks like. Then we'll look at Project Online in the Project Professional specifically. And then we'll talk about the link from Project to Planner. That will be just the link where you're still not micromanaging the team, but they have the workspace in Planner to create their tasks and edit their tasks. And then finally, the full-blown integration from Project to Planner. So let's take a look at use case scenario 1. Diane Prescott. She's a project marketing manager at the famous Contoso, which you've probably heard of if you've ever been on a Microsoft webinar. They specialize in cutting-edge consumer technology. And so she is responsible for leading the planning efforts for an upcoming tech conference where Contoso will showcase one of its newest products, a virtual reality headset called Wingtip. So Diane spends most of her time coordinating tasks by email, debriefing on progress with her team once a day by phone. So she'll do maybe a 15, 30-minute phone meeting with the team each day, or maybe individually. Maybe she's calling each of them and checking in. Hey, did you finish this task yet? Hey, what's the next thing you're working on? Now, Contoso, the organization, has a robust project management software. Perhaps they're using Project Online, something different. But it's much too involved for Diane, and because her expertise is primarily in marketing. She's not in project management. So that's fine. So in summary, she's responsible for the planning efforts. She's coordinating all her tasks by email. She needs to know what the daily progress is, and she's doing that currently by phone and email, as mentioned above. And even though Contoso, her company, does have a robust project management software, it's really too involved for Diane, whose expertise is marketing. She's not in project management. So within Planner itself, the Office 365 web-based tool, she can go in and she can integrate with Office 365 groups. It gives her access to the Planner Hub, to my tasks and her team's tasks. She can see who has been assigned what. It has interactive boards that track and organize the team's work by moving cards between columns. See how here you can click and drag things. You can build the team, and you can customize the columns in the view. You can see here that there are buckets here. This has a new bucket plus sign up here. That is so that if you have particular sections of the project that need to be handled, maybe she's got a particular press release bucket because several press releases need to be sent out on wingtip coming out. And then she could have a press release bucket. If she had a product testing bucket where there were lots of different users who were actually having different family members test the headset, for instance, that could be in a different bucket, which allow her to keep organized. It offers overall a simple, highly visual way to organize the teamwork and collaborate on projects effectively. It lets you create the new plans and organize and assign tasks. You can share files too. Each of these you can see some of them have attachments here. So you can share files that way too. This would be one with a slideshow in it. You can see the projects that, the plans and tasks that do have attachments have screenshots, so you can see exactly what's attached. So that's really handy, very visually compelling as well. It's really quick for them to find exactly what they need, particularly if they know what document they're looking for. And then within each task, you've got more detail here. You can add descriptions. Here's the attachments that I talk about. You can add comments as well. And then overall, you get a snapshot of the assignments within these plans. So you can see 12 of them are not started here, 4 are late, 3 are in progress, and 31 of them completed. Luckily, mostly Diane is in the green here. So that's good, okay? So let's take a look at the environment itself. We're going to go to Planner. Now, as you can see here, I have a wingtip plan here, and this is my own that I've created intentionally. You can see in my environment, I have it customized. I happen to love strawberries, so I've gone through and I've just made that a little bit cheerier. Any user has the ability to do that in Office 365. But the addition of tasks is as simple as clicking the plus button here. You enter a task name, hit enter, and it's there, okay? Then you can go into it. This is where you can add additional information. You can decide what bucket it's going to be in. Right now, we only have the to-do bucket, which is the built-in bucket on each plan. Progress right now is not started, but I could change this to in progress. You'll see that will be the equivalent of 50% complete in Project Online. I could decide when this task is going to start. Since it's in progress, I'm going to presume it's already started today, and I'm going to have it due on Friday. And then I could put in a task description here. If I wanted to add an item, I could do that here. If I wanted to add an attachment, the same thing here. People who are going in and out of this task can add comments. And then you can also set a label on it if you want to. Maybe this falls into 2 categories, so we can put 2 different labels on it, and we close it. Okay, so you see here, very basic is what I'm showing you here. I've got send press release to the Boston Globe. If I had an actual press release attached to it, that's where you would see the image like we saw on the slide. You can add a new bucket if you want a new container. So perhaps this is for product testing. Okay, and then we can have a whole category here where these are related, as I mentioned, to people testing that wingtip virtual reality headset. So that would be the most basic of the scenarios. A simple to-do list where the users can go in, and then every day, at the end of the day, Diane can go and check and see what the task status looks like here. Okay? So let's go to scenario 2. We're on to Raul. Raul Peterson now is a PM. He's not in marketing like Diane was, but he's a PM for Contoso. And Contoso specializes in cutting-edge consumer technology, as previously mentioned. So he manages many projects across the organization. So unlike Diane, he's not just managing the wingtip virtual reality headset, but he manages many projects across the organization. And so he requires visibility as to the status of all of his projects. So he needs more time in the day for project status. Raul needs to create cross-project dependencies and track issues and risks across projects. And as we mentioned, Contoso has the robust project management software, and unlike Diane, Raul does want to use it. Okay, so for this, Project Pro is a known. He's going to be using Project Pro. That's what he's used to. That's what he needs. He's going to be able to go into Project Center in the environment, and he's going to be able to see projects across the environment. He's going to be able to automate status reports as well, and he's going to be able to track issues and risks and create cross-project dependencies. So he'd be working here across tasks. You can see here, these are all of the tasks assigned to Raul, and he's able to see them in the project online environment. He is able to select different types of projects to create. As you see, he's got construction projects, product development, any kind of project that for which a template has been built in your environment, he will have access to. He'll have access to workflows, both document workflows and project workflows if those have been created. So he'd be able to see how many of his projects are in the scoping phase versus how many are in planning and or execution, how many are complete. It includes flexible reporting tools with Excel, Power BI, and dashboarding. So with OData connections and SharePoint list connections from both Excel and Power BI, you can create dynamic dashboards so executives can see exactly what they need to see across projects, and PMs as well. They're just managing their own projects. You can see you have overview dashboards here where you're looking at either specific projects, or you can see across projects where you're looking at the health of the entire portfolio. It also allows for team collaboration and document management. Okay, so this would be where you've got documents within the project specific site. Okay, so this would be, you see we have a risk list here, we have a documents list here. If you're familiar with the Office 365 environment and SharePoint, then this will be second nature to you. You'll be able to go through and share documents with the team. Anyone working on that project will be able to access that project site. We'll be able to see the possible risks and issues on the project and be able to access the project calendar and tasks list as well. So that's the built-in project online environment where you've got project. You're going to work both in project desktop here, which is what I'm in right now, also known as project professional, or you can work in the project demo environment. So either way, you can access across the portfolio, which is what Raul would be looking to do. Now, Raul doesn't really care about people whether they're doing their own tasks or not. He wants to just do his work in project online, okay, and project professional. So he's managing his project in the project file itself. But what if he wants to have a team? What if he wants to delegate a little bit, but has a team of people who maybe aren't as proficient at project as he is? Well, that's fine. That's when use case scenario 3 comes into play. Okay, so in use case scenario 3, we've got Mary. Mary wants to manage her project in project and allow for the detailed work to be completed and tracked in Planner. She doesn't want the two to sync. She doesn't care about that. She doesn't need to micromanage the team. She prefers them separate. But as a PM, respectively so, she wants her team to stay happy and choose the tool that they want to use. You know, she doesn't want to force them to use the tools that she uses. Maybe they're not as proficient at it. Maybe they just don't have the time to do that. Or maybe they don't need to be anywhere near as elaborate or detailed as Mary wants to be for her own project management needs. Okay. In this case, what Mary can do is she can create a link to project, to Planner rather, excuse me. So she will actually go here, okay? So say she wants to have, she's gonna have a whole team that's doing the scoping for this project. And she's gonna have a whole group of people that are doing the execution tasks on this project, okay? So if she goes to scoping here, and then we go to the task, this is where, if you're in the Office 365 environment, you have the link to Planner. So we're going to set up this Planner link here. And then what happens here is you get this left-hand panel that comes up and you link to an existing Planner plan. I think that sounds kind of funny. I've kind of cracked myself up on that. Let's link to a Planner plan. Okay, so now if we go back to Planner here, okay, you see I've got two of them now. I've got Wingtip and I've got Planner Sync. This already exists, okay? So I'm going to go back to my project environment here and I'm going to start typing Planner and you'll see Planner Sync comes up, okay? So we're going to click this link and then once it's selected, we're going to create the link. And then you can see here, I'll move my mouse away from here so you can see it a little better. There's a cute little project plan link here that will show. And what that will do, I'm going to do it through magic as if I am on a cooking show. It will open this link. Okay, I've only just created the link. Sometimes it just takes a minute or two for that link to become active. So this is what it links to. Okay, so now if I go through here, you see project scoping is here. I have execution on here as well. You know, that would be if I'm only going to add one link. What I might do instead is I might have a plan for project scoping. I might have another plan for execution. And then within the project itself, I can link to more than one. So if I went to this one now and I went to execute, say I wanted to link this one to the other one that already exists. I'm going to type Wingtip here because that's the one I have in my environment. And I create that link. Now what will happen is this top task here will link to the Planner Plan Project Sync, and this one here will link to Wingtip. Okay, so it's one task to plan with the built-in link. All right, so for this just one task here in project, there's going to be a whole plan here. Could have hundreds of tasks in it if you needed it to, if you wanted it to. Okay. All that does in Project Professional is it gives you a link. That's it, nothing more. Okay, and that's fine if you're not worried about the team. If you're perfectly confident, okay, they're going to be able to manage their own to-do lists and worry about what they need to do, that's great. Don't micromanage them. You give them the tools they need to make their to-do lists, and boom, it's done. Okay, for more elaborate choices, okay, so we talked about what Mary wants to do, how she wants to connect. You're going to need Project Professional via Project Online. She's going to use that planner link that we talked about. That will come up. It's only available for Office 365 subscriptions. Just want to restate that if you're worried about why you don't see that. It could be maybe some members of your organization have Office 365, but you don't. That would be something to check with your admin team. But this will magically appear once you're on Office 365, okay? And then we talked about linking to that existing project plan. You can start typing. I started to type wingtip, and then that would automatically populate the list below. So you do need to know what the planner name is in advance, okay? You can't just search for the plans that exist. You need to be able to type those into there, okay? Then you select it. It makes a connection, and then that is just simply a link where you can then open Microsoft Planner from your project file. That's all it is, okay? So I went out of order. I was excited, so I did the demo first, but we've gone through the link from project to planner. That's where it would link right here to both the planner sync for the task that I linked to the planner sync plan, and to the wingtip plan for the task that I linked to the wingtip plan in Planner. So what if this is not enough? Okay, what if, well, what good does that really do me? I could just save that Planner link. I could go to Planner. I could see all the plans that I've got. And I don't disagree with that. I would say that my first impression of the link between Planner and Microsoft was that, okay, this is cool. I think it's handy. But in terms of really being able to control the project and ensure that the team is keeping on track and really being able to push tasks to Planner, now that's really what I want to see. That's really where the whole team is going to be able to work in Microsoft Planner, which again, with an Office 365 license is free. That's big for some organizations when sometimes Project Online is cost prohibitive. So then we come to scenario 4. So now we're bringing Diane and Raul together, okay? So Diane and Raul both work for Contoso, as we've mentioned, and I don't know if you caught this, you might have missed it. They specialize in cutting edge consumer technology, okay? So as a product manager and project manager, they both want the flexibility to choose how they manage their projects, okay? We talked about the fact that Diane, she's in marketing. She doesn't really have the bandwidth or the desire to use Project or Project Online, whereas Raul is a product manager, and he wants to be able, a project manager rather, he wants to be able to go and use the tool that he's used to using, which is Microsoft Project. But they need to work together. They go way back. They want to talk all the time. They want to be able to understand what the other is working on. And they realize that this kind of integration is what's going to help them get their work done more efficiently. So they need to be able to associate files with individual tasks and provide a central repository for project and task-related documents. Okay, so they have both a need for working in Project and working in Planner. So their managers want to be able to see reports of all the projects. Maybe Power BI is going to do that. Maybe just the built-in reporting in Project Online is going to make that happen. But they also want to be able to view high-level project status. So they have the tool integration that allows for using both Planner and Project Online. They need document libraries, as we mentioned. They've got portfolio level and project level status reports that they're going to need. Maybe they want those custom views that we talked about earlier in the presentation. Overall, to be cliche, they want the best of both worlds, okay? So there's all kinds of integrations that we perform. We leverage existing tools. We implement process change. You know, we develop custom code and apps. We do that all the time. We set we do feature set deployment. So we're working with Microsoft on future releases all the time. My colleague right now is at a Microsoft conference. We have an event coming up in Burlington just next week in Massachusetts. So we're constantly working with the community to get a better understanding of what is needed. And so this, as I mentioned, you know, my first impression of the integration, the built-in integration between Planner and Project was, okay, yeah, it's handy, but it doesn't quite go as far as I really want it to go and what I think clients would need, okay? So that's where this integration from Project Online to Planner comes into play. So this is going to offer a bi-directional sync to and from Project Online. Okay, so it's going to be a Project Online task to a Planner task. Okay, so that's different than what we had before. It was previously a Project Online task to an entire plan. Okay, so there wouldn't be that one-to-one connection that there is with this bi-directional sync with this tool that we leverage. You have the option to set the sync per task, and to schedule the sync, you can have it scheduled automatically a few times a day, many times a day, however many you want, or you can simply just perform that sync on demand. And then you can associate the project task also to a specific planner bucket. So this is where it would come into play, where if we had these tasks here, we wanted all of these to be associated with the scoping bucket, and all of these to be associated with the execute bucket, and all of these with the rollout bucket. We can do that. It gives us that capability. So what happens with the sync? I'm sure you're just dying to know, right? So the sync will create a new planner plan, first of all. Okay, there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can do it manually, so I can sync a new project with a plan that I've already created. If you've maybe gone out of order, that's fine. But it will create a new planner plan. It will email the group that the plan was created, like, hey guys, look, we've got a new plan. This is where we're going to be working now. So that would save Diane and Raul some time too. So Diane, who's constantly emailing all day, she wouldn't even need to. The system would do that for her, and the team would get that email. And then it would establish the link between project and planner. Okay, so that link is going to happen as updates are made in planner. Those get updated in project, and as updates are made in project, those get updated in planner. So if Mary decides, oh, you know what, Bob, I finished that task, I'm going to mark that as complete, that's going to reflect in planner for Bob as well. So it allows you to set the progress from either tool as well. So in planner, we saw that a task was not started, or it was in progress, or it was completed. So in the project world, that would be 0% complete for not started, 50% complete for in progress, or 100% complete for complete. Okay, so that's how that translates. But now let's really see what it looks like when you're working in the environment. Okay, so I've got another project here that is a little bit prettier. I don't even have it checked out. I'm just going to have it in read-only mode. But there are additional columns here that the add-in, the integration hub, adds to the environment. Okay, so we see we've got two specifically, and then we've added this milestones field too, because we thought that that would be really helpful. But with the tool is, we call it PPMW sync task with planner. So this is going to be, all right, do I want this task to show in planner? I do? Oh, okay, I'll change that. Okay, so now document validation will become a task in planner. Okay, if we wanted to specify what bucket it goes in, as I talked about, so here's the requirements phase of the project, here's the requirements bucket. We're in the design phase, here's the design bucket. Development and implementation, this one needs to be stretched out a little to see that, but there's a development bucket. Okay, that might be in the development milestone. Okay, so that's why we have that set there. Testing and verification, testing buckets, you know, and we've added milestones, we have the start and finish dates. Okay, all of this is going to sync. So now if we go back to planner, I've got these two really basic plans that I've created before, but if you want to see something really pretty, here's the e-com rollout project. Okay, so this is a little bit more elaborate. You see here we've got document requirements that we talked about. We've got an attached PowerPoint file here with the image that shows what the document is. That's super handy. You can see that they're in the different buckets, the requirements bucket, the design bucket, development, and testing. Okay, there's additional documentation bucket. And this one, as you can see, only has show completed. These are only showing me the active tasks. So team members can set those as they like. On my particular planner kind of page itself, I only want to see the stuff that I haven't gotten done. I don't want to be bogged down by the stuff that I've already finished, because for one thing, it's in the thousands now. I finish so much every day that those lists are really long now. So I just want to see what's still on my to-do list, okay? But if you do want to show completed, you can turn that on, and then you can see the things. You see they get automatic strike-throughs here. And completed by a former member of this group. It could be that it's a user who's not even here anymore, but all you have to know is it's done. That's all that matters. Okay, so the integration, there are sync tools that will be built into your project online environment, and that's where the sync takes place. As mentioned, you can set that sync on a schedule, but really overall, this view is really what is so important. If we look at the project information section here, you can see that we've got these built-in fields here, and then this is the most important one, PPM sync project with planner. This is where you're going to turn on, yes, this is a project I want to sync with planner. And then what happens is the planner ID gets put in there automatically. If we look at this project planner ID, this is actually the same ID that's appearing in the URL here. See, plan ID, okay? This is where we talked about earlier, you can do this manually also. You don't have to let the tool do that for you if you don't want to, but you can. That's entirely up to you. It depends on how you prefer to manage it. But then the planner group email will be auto-populated. Ecom rollout sync goes here, the project plan ID, and then that field that I mentioned already, which is what turns on the sync altogether, okay? So that's what's going to make these fields available and usable. So where you decide which tasks are syncing. Right now we've got the design review planner task, okay? And there are other tasks that are probably complete already on here that are not showing. And then the bucket is where you decide where you're going to put those tasks. And then they get assigned to the people that are listed here, okay? That is really the beauty of the tool. So we are really big into the crawl, walk, run approach when it comes to project implementation and helping your team get to where it needs to get. So we talked about the different types of scenarios that you might have for users that just want to be working in Planner, don't really have any interest in using a more elaborate tool or learning a more elaborate tool. Planner would be the one to go to for that. But then if you have greater needs, you know, project portfolio needs, cross-portfolio viewing, and then enterprise viewing, the project online might be where you need to go, okay? In terms of helpful slides, this is another one. These next two, I think the feature comparison is really handy. You can see here on the first slide, really not a whole lot of difference between Planner and Project Online. They all have mobile-friendly views, security, the ability to upload documents, assign tasks, and so forth, track progress, graphical task-level views and summary views. When you get down to some of the more collaborative things, task-level discussions and collaboration, and included with the Office 365 suite, that's where Planner is going to be your best friend, because it's more of a collaborative kind of Office 365 minded environment, and it's included in the Office 365 suite. Okay, so at no additional license cost. As I mentioned, that's big. Now, when we get more into the detailed stuff of the scheduling engine, that amazing tool that comes with Project Online, portfolio views and views with indicators, the fact that it would support master projects and sub-projects, you could create custom views and project level fields, track effort and cost. If you need to be able to manage issues, risks, and deliverables, those lists we talked about that come built in to the project websites that come when you publish a project, then that would all be built in already into Project Online, not into Planner. Okay, you can customize the interface. You don't really have a lot of leeway with customizing. You know, you saw about the extent of that was me putting strawberries at the top of my Office 365 environment and turning off the view so that I'd only see incomplete tasks. And then timesheets also, no capability for timesheets in Planner, but Both of them do have multiple level of tasks supported, and both have scheduled templates, okay? So that would be with the integration we could get there from here. So as we mentioned, questions and answers, they're really important, and we love to hear from you guys. So please email info@ppmworks.com. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love feedback on the presentation. Like I said, you know, we had a lot to cover in an hour, and I'm nearly there. So I really appreciate you putting up with me going through all those slides so quickly. We do have some upcoming webinars. Most significantly is our Project and Portfolio Management Summit, where lots of different organizations come together. That's going to be in Burlington, Mass. On October 2nd and 3rd. We have another webinar coming up on October 4th, tips and tricks for project detail pages. I believe that's me hosting that, so I hope to see you back there. But then we also have another couple of webinars coming up a bit sooner. What's New in Project Professional 2016, that's on September 20th at 1 o'clock. And then my colleague will be at the PMI in Minnesota chapter Professional Development Days. And so he gets to go out to Minnesota on September 24th through 26th. So we really appreciate you joining today. I hope that you enjoyed the webinar and found it helpful. As I mentioned, I'm Jenny Ward. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find PPM Works on LinkedIn. Our site is ppmworks.com. We have all kinds of webinars accessible from there, and blogs at blogs.ppmworks.com. We really want you to start incorporating these techniques into your habits today. You know, if you're on an Office 365 environment, if you've never looked at it before, go to Planner. Just see what's there. Make your chores list for home today if you just want to try it out. See what it looks like. Click all the buttons. You're not going to break anything. I highly encourage that. Click all the buttons, and that will help you learn the fastest, and I think it's the most fun too. As I mentioned, check out our blogs and webcasts and our LinkedIn connection with me. I should have put my name in there, but I'm Jenny Ward. And you can get connected with us there. We'd love to hear from you. Here are the email addresses that you'll need: info@ppmworks.com. Our website is www.ppmworks.com. We're based in Boston, but we are located all over the country so that we can get to you more quickly and efficiently. But I really appreciate you joining today from wherever you are, and I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Thank you for joining.